I think I'll be more talking about what are the investment options, how exactly the forward and backward integration of the industry is going upon right now. We all understand that the vegan market is having a very impressive growth, and it is expected to show even stronger growth in the near future. But yeah, I think I'll be focusing more regarding what the investors should be thinking and doing as per the consumer's perception, and what are the investment options available right now for people like you and me. So yeah, I'll just try to share my screen once. If it is not possible, Veronica, I'll need your help with that. Yeah. So I think to start with, talking about from boosting a vegan market to animal-free financing. So I think, Veronica, in the very first of the presentation, you said that veganism has started as a philosophy, it's a way of living. David also confirmed that, yeah, it is a very, it is from being a philosophy, it is now a very societal trend and even a business trend now. We are witnessing an impressive growth in the global vegan market, and it expects even stronger growth in the years to come. It should not be forgotten that this vegan wave must support animal welfare, counter climate change, and contribute to the preservation of the environment. Investors have a lot of interest, but then we cannot move away from the core perspective of whether they are or not, which is specifically related with animal welfare, counter climate change, and preservation of environment. From a specifically financial point of view, it is very important to question as per our estimations, our baseline expectation for the growth of alternative protein market is assumed to be very consistent in the pattern with respect to the consumer expectation, regulatory support, technological change, and any changes in these assumptions affect the market, and mostly on the upside. Any further efforts on the part of scientists, startups, incumbent food companies, and investors will lead to the technological change and improve that. With all these positive factors, the alternative proteins can grow more quickly and up to around 22% of the market in 2035. Well, regardless of whether any of these alternative scenarios come to pass, substantial capital must be invested across the protein value chain to support the protein transformation. Since 2019, it has expected that the total investment, it jumped to around 540%. In the US alone, plant-based food companies were on the receiving end of a record of around 5 to 6 billion worth of investment, US dollars, in 2021, which was up by 60% over 2020. So increasingly, investors are seeing the success of companies such as Beyond Meat, Oatly, and they want a piece of the vegan pie. David mentioned a lot of companies, a lot of brands who have come up with new product launches or very recent developments. I'll not dig deep into that. But yes, I can say that the companies are very much interested in the vegan or plant-based products. However, the companies who want to attract the funds, now they need to show that the potential, that they are here and they have the potential to last, and that hanging on the coattails of this recent wave of animal welfare or sustainability or health and environment concerns, that won't be enough. They have to prove whatever they are talking about in terms of branding or marketing has to be converted on paper as well. So right now, I can say that the marketplace is very bullish when it comes to the plant-based companies. However, for individuals, for people like you and me, who want to put their money where their mouth is, the options are not always very obvious. Applying vegan principles, to say so, to the investments can involve a lot of research and will actually limit the number of companies you can invest in. Diversifying a portfolio, an investment portfolio, particularly for vegan investing, can be very difficult. It is possible, but very difficult for now. And so before going any further, I think we need to first understand the three key questions that is right now to be discussed. The number one point is that what exactly is plant-based or vegan investing? The second point is, how do investors get started? How exactly you can invest in such kind of vegan portfolios? And should plant-based investors expect to sacrifice investment performance? And this is a very common notion, because when you have an ideology attached to your money, usually people think that maybe the industry should do much better rather than the stock or the brand performing better for me or making money for me. So yeah, let's deep dive into the vegan investing ecosystem. So the very first question is that what exactly we mean by plant-based or vegan investing. So plant-based investing goes by many names. You might hear it called as vegan investing, humane investing, or cruelty-free investing. Now, what all of these approaches have in common is the intention to support plant-based industry as a means of transitioning from the practices that either harm animals or promote unsustainable animal agriculture. Now, plant-based investors necessarily does not mean that they will transform into a vegan diet. David very importantly pointed out a point that, out of the overall population, only 3% of the population are actually perceiving the vegan diet or vegan lifestyle. So yes, actually, when it comes to investing as well, that is diet or lifestyle. So we need to understand then what type of investors are we or are there in the market. So plant-based investors may do one or the more of the following products. So the number one point is that a plant-based investor will seek out investments in the business that offer plant-based products as well as plant-based alternatives to common the animal-based products. Number two, the investment, they will include the companies or the investments in the companies which involved animal slaughter, abuse, testing, and exploitation from any of the portfolios. The third kind of plant-based investor can be or will participate in the shareholder activism to spur positive changes in the companies regarding animal welfare. To discuss this further, when we say humane investment, we may invest in a retail company that, say, sells fur, but we would advocate for the changes in their practices so that they stop selling fur. Another example could be excluding any company that sells products affiliated with animal exploitation. So for example, any airline with leather seats on the planes will have a very little impact on the company's behavior. So the point that I'm trying to make is that since plant-based investing is still new, what each term means may vary among the various investment managers and the advisors, and hence it is very, very important to understand what kind of investor are we, or if you are talking from the brand's perspective, what kind of investors you want to attract. So I'm very sorry. Yeah, so having said this, let's discuss on exactly various investors can get started in the market. We understand that there are a lot of options available where you can put your money, you can help the industry to grow, to get into the another level. But how exactly you or me as common people can enter into this ecosystem and play our part, not just by shifting into a vegan diet or a vegan lifestyle, but actually contributing and growing the economy. So yeah, so there are various factors to be discussed. So let's deep dive into it one by one. So the very first thing that we can understand is the pure play plant-based food stocks. Now, as with the development of the fossil-free divestment movement, clients' demand will be crucial to the development of plant-based or vegan investment strategy. Benefit from using a financial advisor to screen potential holdings based on vegan values and financial performance. As with the food industry, if are just talking about specifically food and beverages segment, then investors interested in the plant-based food sector should look for the quality publicly listed stocks that are led by strong management teams and have the key ingredient for success are taste, price, and convenience. And that recipe for success applies to both individual companies and the plant-based food industry as a whole. So investors who are trying to raise funds plant-based egg, vegan seafood, snacks, dairy alternatives, and many will agree that there are still a lot of untapped areas, as David very rightly pointed out, that apart from food as well, there are other industries such as leather or cosmetics. So yeah, we can say that there are a lot of untapped areas, but as pointed out earlier, that it is very important to understand when you are investing in an industry, how the management is, how old the company is, if it is new, what exactly is the mission and vision. We cannot just go with the flow and go with the wave of the recent trend of plant-based, and we cannot just invest or put our money into the brands who are just trying to market their product as vegan or plant-based. The success has to move into the paper as well. It is also very important for the investors to actually move away from the processed food. We were actually discussing about lab-grown food or genetically modified food. So I think I would like to disagree with David a bit that, yes, of course, there is a revenue stream there, a new product launch there when it comes to a genetically modified food product or a lab-grown product. But from common notion, what I can feel is that right now, the money should be put upon the products which are less processed, because I think consumers have seen a lot of innovations already happening in the market, and just to get the vegan pie, just to attract more investment, more funds, and more profitability, maybe they are right now more interested in seeing what whole product can be there as per the nutritional value and not just the trend. So yeah, I can say that the newest wave of innovation in the plant-based ecosystem seems to be around clean labels with natural and easy to understand ingredients. And consumers are conceptually moving away from lab-based food to food-based food. So I think the question that Estella had, that whether the consumers are going to buy the product if it is a cultured meat or a lab grown meat, or what can be the labels for it. So I think, Estella, the answer to your question can be that the industry is still at a very, very niche stage, and how to label it, how to market it is still something that I think the manufacturers have not decided. It is the 150 companies who are working on the cultured meat, how to scale the product, how to make it commercialized. So I think there is a long way to go, and there are still a lot of opportunities in the conventional or the vegan plant-based ecosystem, as we say. So lab-based food is something that for now, as investors, maybe it will not be a very attractive segment, at least for 3 to 4 to 5 years. But yeah, you can never say never. So yeah, it is very important that the brands who use fun to improve their nutritional value, and rather than just focusing on scaling up the production. We have seen that the investments have gone high. The venture capitalists are very much interested in investing in the amount. But then the brands and the companies, they need to understand to improvise the product with respect to the nutrition, because there cannot be any trade-off with respect to taste, price, and the nutrition profile. And just launching new products, fresh products into the markets and just rebranding it will not work. Trust and transparency is very, very important. Having a product definition and credible labels for vegan and plant-based food can help build trust for both market actors and reduce confusion for the consumers. Additionally, communication and marketing should be honest and realistic without exaggerating or sugarcoating the facts. As I was saying that the marketing branding is very much important. Sugarcoating the facts will not work, and plant-based or vegan is important, but we cannot operate in the vegan vacuum. We do have to consider what the product taste is, what the pricing is, and what the nutritional profile is. And as a company, the core will be whether your products replicate or improve upon the taste, cookability, cost, and nutrition of the product they seek to display. So these 3-4 factors will be very, very important when the investors are listing the companies to invest. The second important point will be the plant-based food ETFs. So taking a position in an exchange traded fund, ETF, is a great option for the investors who don't want to go all in one company or aren't interested in picking specific stocks. ETFs provide broad-based exposure to a sector while mitigating the risk of holding shares in a single company. A few vegan ETFs which have been very famous and are available includes Beyond Investing's US Vegan Climate ETF, the VanEck Future of Food ETF, and Veg Tech Plant-Based Innovation and Climate ETF. So these ETFs exclude companies engaged in animal exploitation, defense, human rights abuses, fossil fuel extraction, and energy production, and also the other environmental damaging activities. It includes mid-cap stocks that replace the companies in sectors that became underweight through their exclusions. And it demonstrates that it is possible to obtain broad-based market exposure while adhering to the animal and environmental friendly principles. So I'm sure in the later part of the conference, we will be getting to know that which are the best ETFs to work upon. But yeah, these are some of the ETFs which have amazing moral responsibility, where they exclude the companies who are abusing the human rights, animal rights, or even the fossil fuel extraction or controlling the energy production. So I think these are the ETFs which investors, companies, people like you and me can look into. And the third section, which I think is very, very important, is to use shareholders' power. Now, shareholder activism is already making a very visible impact on the American food industry. There are a lot of examples where the power of shareholders was being seen. A very good example was back in 2018, when the New York state pension fund, which owned at least around $344 million US dollars worth of share in McDonald's, made a headline when the comptroller, Mr. Thomas DiNapoli, wrote a letter to McDonald's imploring that the fast food giant need to adopt to be a more human chicken welfare policy. Groups like Human Society charge that chicken from McDonald's and other fast food companies are bred to grow at a very unnatural pace and live in overcrowded conditions. And since that, Burger King, Aramark, Kraft Heinz, and Subway, all these big companies, they have pledged to give chicken more floor space by 2024. And McDonald's is considered the laggard in the industry. So to support change within the companies, voting during the upcoming proxy season for resolutions demanding plant-based food products, and at the end of animal abuse and exploitation, is a gradual but promising strategy. So the meaning is that when we are investing, we are kind of becoming a part of shareholders. We have a say in how the environment can be handled, how the animal throughout the process can be handled. And I think when you're investing, it's not just about the money. You are also being a part of the gradual change, and it will be a very, very promising strategy for the near future. Another very important and attractive aspect, maybe purely from the point of view of investing money, is the IPOs, the rise of the vegan IPOs. Now, along with a rising number of vegan stock indexes, vegan companies increasingly turn into publicly traded companies, either by directly being listed at different stock exchanges or by going through a special purpose acquisition company, which we call as SPAC. In 2021, more vegan companies announced to prepare for an IPO than ever before. And at the same time, the list of the public listing being conducted is growing. In terms of new vegan stock, plant-based dairy brand, the Planting Hope Company, producer of world's first commercially available sesame milk, recently completed its IPO in Canada and selling around 22.5 million shares at a price of just $0.4 each. And following the Planting Hopes public listing, the vegan dairy manufacturer is joining two major brands, actually, mostly from the plant-based alternative sector, including the world's first publicly listed US brand company, Beyond Meat, and the cardigan big player, the Very Good Food Company. So these are the two brands who have been listed for such kind of IPOs. Please excuse me with my voice. Actually, it's a bit broken. Yeah. So moving forward, another vegan giant entering the vegan stock market is the Swedish oat pioneer Oatly, and its innovative and global hyped oat milk is actually gaining traction after securing around $2 billion IPO. Now the publicly owned oat milk company will be furthering its growth in the fast growing market, and with the alternative protein outperforming both the milk and the soy milk. So apart from the stocks and the IPOs, the people can also invest in the food supply chain companies, the food and grocery giants. The shift from the meatless option has promoted food industry giants like Kellogg, major grocery store chains like Kroger, to heavily expand their plant-based offerings. Kellogg Company, it increased its portfolio in 2019, and the company's Morningstar Farms brand introduced a line called as Incognito, featuring all the vegan burgers. In 2020, Kroger added around 50 plant-based products to its Simple Truth brand, including non-dairy cheese, oat milk ice creams, and a plant-based alternative to chicken. Its product line already features meatless burger patties, sausages, non-dairy source cream, etc. In 2022, Kroger announced an innovation partnership with privately held Impossible Foods to develop more plant-based food products. Should the plant-based investors expect to sacrifice investment performance, which is a very generic notion? So from my perspective, a strategy can be developed that either protects or increase one's assets depending on the mix of holdings. While no investment has guaranteed returns, there is growing momentum to support the wisdom of building a plant-based investment strategy. Organizations that have joined the FAIRR initiative, now representing around 4.1 trillion of assets, acknowledging the risk associated with the factory farming, and from environmental damage to public health issues. Not staying on the top of the plant-based protein shift is not just a lapse of moral judgment, but is actually a financial risk as well. Investors with strong convictions can still perform in alignment with the broader market. In fact, investing using ESG ratings or the stocks or the indexes have been shown to reduce the risk and offer financial advantages. Plant-based investing could result in a significantly smaller carbon footprint, while avoiding the risk associated with animal production, all benefit that we expect from more and more companies. So all in all, I can say that the industry is actually prepared for investors like you and me to put our money into it and actually be a part of the vegan economy. And